Christmas has arrived again.
Welcome to Dad Jitsu.
Hi.
It is episode 10.
Double figures, baby.
We didn't do an episode last week because
Why is that, mate?
I was in a brown hell of... You don't really want to know the details, but let's just say I was very unwell. I was between the bed and the bathroom for a solid week.
Brutal.
That's all you need to know.
You've slimmed up a little bit, though.
I don't know. Well, maybe. I don't know what I was weighing before.
You look a bit slimmer.
I reckon I probably lost 3 or 4 kilos in total during the whole thing, and I probably put a couple on.
3 or 4 kilos of shit.
Probably, yeah. Well, I wasn't really eating at all, day to day. Nova. No.
Are we good?
You're gonna have to go out.
Sorry, girl. Nothing gets in the way of the podcast.
Yeah. You're out of here. It's a 1-strike rule. Out.
1 strike and you're
out. Out.
You'll fit through there. Go on. She was worried about the little baffle stopping her getting out. Oh, look at her face. She's like, oh.
But yeah, so we missed episode 10, which was devastating. I thought about taking a risk. It would have been fun for me to shit myself live on air.
I mean, yeah, it's probably would have got a lot of traction online.
But yeah, it was probably best that I didn't do that. So we are back for episode 10. Yeah, I think it's episode 10. I feel like it's not. I feel like it's episode 11.
I think it's 10. I think it's 10. I think we wouldn't have been a big deal out of the fact it was like double figures and 10. And maybe. I think it was 9 last time.
But we've overcome adversity to get here.
Yeah, many levels of adversity.
Brown adversity, you going to Dubai.
Yeah. There was something else as well recently. One of the episodes. Oh, we did it on a Sunday because we missed.
Yeah, we recorded a whole episode and then didn't actually record it. I'm just going to double check. This is recording.
I forgot it was that one. Yeah.
We're good.
The thing with that is now, because you already had the neurosis of checking it, and because you checked it and we fucked ourselves out of an entire episode, that neurosis has just gone into overdrive, hasn't it?
Yeah,
we're never going to lose that now.
Compounded. It's like if you've got an anxious thought that every time you leave the house you're going to be hit by a car. Yeah. Obviously it's unreasonable, but then if you get hit by a car, you're a lock. Yeah.
Forever.
Everything I ever think is going to be right. Yeah. It's dark.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Stuff that's been going on in the jiu-jitsu world. UFC. What do they call it?
It's the
UFC Invitational, isn't it? But
it's called something else. No, it's
called I forget. Something P.
There's a P in there. Yeah, there is a P in there.
I don't know what the P.
I can't remember what it stands for, but it is an invitational, isn't it?
But their Grappling Invitational was a couple of weekends ago now. Mikey Musumeci was the headliner, and now they're trying to make a big deal, aren't they, about him being the first person, I think, to sign an exclusive contract with the UFC, like the MMA fighters have.
Yeah.
I think he's the first grappler to sign that contract. Even though they've been doing their UFC PI, whatever they're called, invitational things for a while now, but I guess the people they've had on haven't been exclusive to that.
Yeah.
So is that a big deal? I don't know. Is that a big deal? I guess
it seems like it's a big deal for the jiu-jitsu community because it's testament to the fact that it seems like jiu-jitsu is becoming more and more mainstream. The fact that an organisation is obviously Flow and all the other organisations that have jiu-jitsu is they're big as well. But I think UFC is much bigger, and some a mainstream organisation like the UFC to have exclusive the start of exclusive grapplers on there. It's a big deal in terms of how much this is blowing up, I think.
Yeah, I think it is a big deal, I think, in terms of the professionality, is that a word?
We'll go with
it.
Yeah.
Ironic. The professionality of grappling. So, going into a big organisation, hopefully getting paid well. But I mean, as I hear, UFC fighters don't actually get paid that well, unless you're in the top 1%.
What they get paid in is fame.
Yeah,
You know,
but
that's the
again,
draw.
that's the ADCC mindset, isn't it? It's
Exactly.
like, we're not going to pay you, but you'll get that notoriety of winning ADCC, which is going to pay dividends in the long run. It's
Mate,
like, no, that's bullshit.
It's
Just
the
fucking
same
pay us
thing as
money.
like playing in a band and you don't get paid, but it's like you got great exposure
Yeah,
at the
that's
gigs.
bullshit.
Like,
I feel like we've moved on from that now in the UFC. As far as I'm aware, like speaking to some of the MMA fighters at the gym and stuff, they're like, they don't pay necessarily as well as like some of the other organisations, like One, and there's another American one that apparently pay much better.
Bellator don't pay better, do they?
It wasn't Bellator. It was something similar to that though, and apparently they actually pay better than the UFC do.
No way.
But like, people don't necessarily know your name.
Yeah.
But like, who gives a fuck?
But then
But you're I know you want to be famous, but also like to be able to train, like you need to get paid good money, and like you're trying to support a family maybe, and you want to train full time, and you want to be like a big name.
Yeah.
But like in the lead up to that, if you can get paid more money and establish yourself in another organisation and build a bit of like a secure life, then surely you could then go into the UFC at a higher level, get paid probably better in the UFC, because I think it's the only top guys who get paid really well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess you could argue that like the fame or the you know, it you know, you're going to get more in the way of like sponsorship deals and merch deals and this and that equals more money, but it's all a big kind of gamble, isn't it? You want to be getting paid well for the job you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
As a first point. Because it's all a bit pie in the sky, isn't it?
It is, and I think going back to like the grappling and whether it's like a big deal or like, you know, is it a good thing for grappling? I'm not sure like exclusive contracts work in the grappling scene as it is.
Yeah.
Because it's not a huge scene, and there's like let's say in each weight division there's probably like between 10 and 20 guys that you want to see scrapping it out.
Yeah.
Like the top 10 really are the ones you want to see scrapping it out.
Yeah.
Well, if they're like fractured across like 5 different organisations and none of them can fight each other, we don't like that. That's because
bullshit.
we're used to, the history has always been your ADCC, your IBJJF Worlds, they all come together and they scrap it out and you know who's the best.
Yeah.
Whereas if there's some signed to Polaris, some are signed to UFC, some are signed to EBI or you know, Flow, and then they're all just the champions of these organisations, and then they never actually fight.
Yeah.
That's like, you're all, I don't like that.
Which is kind of what you get. Yeah, which is kind of what you get with MMA, isn't it? You get One and Bellator and UFC.
The difference is with MMA and maybe I'm wrong, like hardened MMA fans might disagree. I'm not like a huge MMA fan. Is the way I look at it, maybe this is like going to sound really like naive and like bro sort of thing, who doesn't understand anything. But the way I look at it is I'm like, if you're the champion of the UFC, you're probably the best. Like the champions of the other organisations, I'm like, well, they're just not as good as the UFC champions. Like, they're just not as good. Like, so I don't really care. Like, I find them interesting, who's in the other organisations, and I'm sure these guys are really good guys, but I don't really care about them.
Yeah.
I only care about the people in the UFC.
I know what you mean.
I mean, I don't care about them, but like, you know, they're the ones that I'm like, wow, those are the best.
So
whereas in jiu-jitsu, is that, and that's been like that for years, hasn't it? Because the UFC started, they established it, and the other organisations have popped up as a result of the UFC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas in jiu-jitsu, it's not like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in jiu-jitsu, there's just been this like sort of breadth of different people from different countries all coming together, and then like they come together for these competitions like ADCC or IBJJF Worlds, and then like now all these like other organisations have popped up, and it's been normal for people to do the circuit and compete on all of these competitions, all the best guys. But then now to get signed to these like exclusive contracts, that's like a new thing, and I feel like for the fans, like for the athletes, it's good because they're getting regular money, and obviously they didn't back in the day. They had to pay to compete and things like that, or like just got status by winning. Whereas now, like they're getting regular money, which is great. Yeah. But I feel like at the moment, that because the landscape's changing, it's not quite as good for the fans.
No, that's right. Like, yeah, it's a bit of a transition period, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a difficult one to sort of judge, isn't it? I think, I mean, maybe the benefit from the UFC's point of view is that, you know, their MMA fighters can kind of go into the jiu-jitsu side of it for having an off-season or whatever, and they can, you know... and they can, you know, gain some jiu-jitsu stars who are also MMA stars to kind of prove their grappling prowess. Because I think grappling is, like I said before, I think it really is exploding. It's becoming more and more popular, and more and more people are training. More and more people are kind of understanding the basics of it. Not as much as striking, obviously, but I think it's kind of stepping towards that.
It definitely is. Yeah, in 20 years, most blokes are probably going to understand an armbar or a rear naked choke. Like, not necessarily be able to do it. Like, I can't necessarily throw a really good right hook, but I could pretty much demonstrate it. Yeah. Like, and it might look shit, but like, I know a hook, you go round and that.
The basic mechanics. I had a mate of mine who I haven't seen for donkey's years, who I know doesn't do any kind of martial arts at all, and one of the questions he sent me was about an oil check. I'm like, that's arresting me. Mostly, but how would it's
a perfect first move to learn.
I think that should be lesson one.
A lot of guys would have done that, and they've never stepped on the mats.
Yeah,
but they've either oil checked themselves
for different reasons, maybe.
Maybe a woman's oil checked them.
Yeah.
And whatever you get up to in your own time, that's fine.
It's absolutely fine. There's no judgment here.
It's a gateway to grappling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that'd be a great way to start, wouldn't it? It's like, I like that. Where does that? In what pastime does
jiu-jitsu.
That? Yeah. But yeah, man, it's. I think it is exploding. I think and that's great for us, isn't it? It's great for our community.
And I guess the idea is the more professional grappling develops, the more you're going to get better grapplers.
Yeah.
Because more people are going to be able to commit to it.
Definitely.
So it is good. It is a good thing in the long run. And in 20 years, I'm sure the professional grappling scene will probably look very different to how it looks now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's only going to be a good thing, isn't it? So it's
even at the time I've been doing it, it's gone from the friends of mine saying, "Oh, what is that? What's that thing you do?" Like, some people, it looks a bit gay, mate, which is an awful comment, but it's gone from that to most people knowing what, like you said, what an armbar is and what they've heard of jiu-jitsu or they've heard of grappling, So as you say, it's only going to get more and more well known.
What do you think about the beef sort of in the comments that were made after the match between Mikey and Gordon Ryan? And did you see it?
I didn't see much of it. I know that he called him a rat and there was a bit of a back and forth. What was the premise
Mikey
of it?
Mikey Musumeci obviously has been very outspoken about being anti-steroids.
Okay.
And now he's joined the UFC, which is a tested organisation. Like, he's sort of really singing on that song. Like,
which obviously
which is towing the party line and stuff like that. Gordon was there commentating. And I imagine Gordon is probably someone that the UFC would probably like to sign.
Yeah. I would have thought he would have been the first one, but obviously
he might. They probably tried to. I think there was a time when he was he did announce that he'd been signed by one, and then he announced that he'd been signed by the UFC, and I think he has competed on the UFC PI thing. Because he nearly got beat by Nicky Rod, didn't he? It was the overtime bit. Anyway. But I imagine they probably can't sign him to a proper contract because he would have to just deal with the drug testing.
Yeah.
Anyway, he kind of fired back I don't understand why he's always got my name in his mouth around steroids because I've always been nice to him. And he's a little rat who constantly can't stay at a gym. He's talking about steroids, but there's no loyalties. He keeps jumping gym to gym and taking what, for himself and then fucking them off. It's an interesting one, isn't it?
It is. I mean, which one's worse?
Doing steroids or being a bit of a creonche?
Yeah. It's a question.
I don't know, really. I have got no problem with people. It's a difficult one. I've got no problem with adults doing steroids if they want to. It wouldn't be something that I'd choose to do because I don't like to do things that are going to have a negative impact on my health necessarily.
Long term.
Yeah. And I don't want to be kind of committed to doing something. You could make an argument that doing test isn't negative for your health, but once you start doing it, you're committed to doing it for the rest of your life. And I don't want to be reliant on say money gets low. I'm oh shit, I can't afford my test anymore.
All of a sudden you
and now I'm fucked. So that's not good.
It's an unsettling thought, that, isn't it? Just you're signing yourself over to a lifelong subscription to my body cannot produce testosterone anymore. It's like
getting fake tits.
It is, but you're constantly having to pay for the fake tits.
That's what
month.
every 10 years or whatever. You can type in the comments how long it is before you need to get a new set of fake tits.
Have you researched this, have you? Are you gonna come back from Turkey at some point, face?
But I would imagine. I think you have to get new ones.
I don't know. I guess so.
So you either are like, oh, I'm going to have these fake tits for like 10 years and then I'll just go back to my normal tits, which probably most people aren't going to do. Or they're going to have to get another operation every 10 years, which is like another
Fuck, I didn't know.
£5,500 to
I thought it was just you were one and done.
No, I don't think so.
Wow.
So, again, if that's wrong, just put it in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
I mean, it's feasible.
Again, it's like, you have to know that you're going to be financially able to do that for the rest of your life and be okay with the fact. Like, what if the test ran out?
Yeah.
Can't get it.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be not feeling great and your body's not going to be producing it. That is then going to lead to negative health consequences.
Well, surely you're going to need more the older you get. Is that how it works?
I have no idea. I don't.
Because obviously your body produces less and less the older you get. You go on a slide down, don't you? So presumably, in order to stay at the same level, you'd need to gradually kind of sliding scale, kind of increase that.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know the ins and out of it.
Sorry if I don't. Yeah.
So I'm not a massive fan of like steroids for me, but like if people want to do it, fucking crack on. The only downside is creating a culture of it so that as kids are coming up through the sport, they then think, okay, I've got to do steroids, and that's not ideal, you know what I mean? Because you've got young minds, even people in their late teens and early 20s, like, I know they're adults, but like, they're not really, like, they're still like, they've got underdeveloped mentalities.
Growing. Well, and their body's still growing.
They're still growing and developing, like, and we shouldn't really be encouraging them to do drugs, I don't think.
That's definitely wrong. Even if it, like, the drugs thing, but it's you're putting something into your body that's changing your body, your metabolism, however it changes it, and you're not fully formed yet. I don't know, man. It's in that similar kind of ballpark as hormone therapy for people that want to transition. Obviously, that's a totally different thing. But
you are getting
I know. I'm just going to brush past that.
I'm sorry about Steve. He is part of the problem.
Part of the problem.
All right. But I wouldn't say anything about this subject.
Not on camera, anyway, right? But you know what I mean. You're putting things in your body that are changing your makeup.
I think you've got to be really like rigorously like happy that you are a complete human, as complete as any human can be. Like before you start making decisions about that. So that's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of like someone's skipping gym to gym and sort of learning and then moving on and learning and moving on, and should you do that, or should you be loyal to one gym and just stay there for the rest of your life? I don't know, like it's a difficult one. Loyalty, I think, is a really positive thing, and your coach will stand by you, and you know, you probably should stand by your coach to a degree, but then things happen in life, don't they? Like you move around, like, you know, you might not be that sort of person who just stays in one place your whole life and is, do you know what I mean? Like life situations can happen that sort of engineer you having to move to gym.
Totally.
And certain personality types sometimes might be difficult to get on with.
Yeah.
Like, and that doesn't mean they're necessarily a bad person. It might just be that their personality type is a little bit rigid, a bit prickly, and like they might fall out with people. I don't know what the deal is with Mikey or anyone else who moves gym to gym, but like you always just think like there's an instructor and then there's a pupil. Like as an instructor, like you've got like maybe 200 pupils underneath you. You can't get on with every one of them.
It's a big dynamic, isn't it?
You know, and some people are very outspoken and, oh, look, man, like my value is I tell everyone what I think, and it's like, that's fine. If you're that sort of person, you tell everyone what you think, that's fine. If that's your like persona, that's fine. But you have to accept that you're probably going to fall out with a degree of your student, and then they're going to move to other gyms. Yeah. And what's the story then that gets told about that situation? Is it that the student keeps moving to other gyms? Maybe they're the problem. Maybe they are. Yeah. Or maybe the instructor at certain situations was the problem. Like, you know, do you know what I mean? It's like people are people. Like, also, you can't get on with everyone.
No, that's right.
Shit's going to happen.
And there's probably an awful lot of times when you have a cards on the table chat with your coach or whatever, and say, look, you know, this distance is making it difficult to come to this gym, or I feel like this other place is a better fit for me, for whatever reason, and you have enough of a relationship with your coach, your gym, where they're like, cool, go and do your thing. If you feel like that's going to make you a better grappler, fighter, whatever it might be, then go and do it. Like, I know Colin would be like that. If one of us was like, oh, I need to go, he'd be like, yeah, go and be as good as you can be. I think that's a mark of a good coach and a good gym. But not every gym's like that, and every coach is like that.
No.
But I think it might have been a completely amicable situation in some cases.
Yeah,
so you can't judge it.
And I haven't heard anyone coming out and being like, yeah, Mikey Musumeci came and trained with us and now he's fucked me off.
Totally.
Like, so who knows? Do you know what I mean? It's difficult. And you are going to martial arts, like, what's the term? Is it like Ronin? Is it? A Ronin who is on their own and out in the wilderness?
Oh, like a nomad sort of.
Yeah, is it a Ronin?
I don't know. Is that like a samurai?
Yeah, I think it might be one that sort of just... I've probably got that wrong. Please write in the comments about that.
But nomad, like a sort of...
and you're going to get characters like that, aren't they? Yeah. And they're not necessarily bad people, but
it's just a personality type in some cases.
Yeah, like, if you want to delve really into it, it's like, stuff might have happened in that person's life where they find it difficult to form close relationships with people. So they might go to a gym, sort of start building these relationships, and then their inbuilt, natural thing that they will repeat all the way through their life is to pull away from that. Because they're like, oh, I'm getting too close. They might not be consciously thinking that, but that might just be like an inbuilt protection mechanism, and they're like, oh, I'm going to go and join this other gym now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
It is what it is. Like,
it's not necessarily...
gives a fuck what people are doing. Like,
man.
It doesn't make them a bad person. No. Like, it's just people are going to move around and make their decisions.
It's not necessarily malicious.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It's absolutely right.
Yeah. Right, we've got some questions.
We have some questions. I like your trainers, by the way.
Yeah, they're an early Christmas present, so I actually don't have any trainers. Well, actually, I've got one pair for walking the dog, but no other pair that I can wear to the gym and things like that, because I'm so committed to the Croc lifestyle.
You are the Croc man.
But the thing is with Crocs, as any good Croc wearer will know, they start to wear out after a while. And so when you're on a wet day doing the school run, it's like you're on an ice rink.
Yeah, they're not.
And you know
the grip. Yeah,
the grip's gone. And I've got a pair of Crocs are for the summer only.
Yeah, Which was the one that you came fifth? Was it fifth you came in the race?
Yeah, in the parents' race.
Was that a grippy pair? Or was
that was a non-grippy pair.
Mate, honestly, this story gets better and better.
You couldn't wear the sports strap, I don't think, or something like that.
So you came fifth in a parent race on a pair of slippy Crocs with no strap on them. You're a fucking superhero. Basically, he's a fucking superhero.
Basically, I'm going to win. And if I come second to the brother, I've basically won.
You basically won. You can come home and say, babe, you smashed it at the park.
Fastest down.
You married a winner. Well done, you.
Well done.
So, number one from Johnny. Johnny's smashing the questions. Thanks for all the questions, Johnny.
Yeah.
Quite insightful questions as well. How does evening training affect your sleep?
Oh, it's not good for it. Basically.
In terms of cortisol and all that, too late in the day.
Let's move on.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Like, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning because I have PT sessions in the morning. So Monday night we finish at 8:30. So I'll get home about 8:45, 20 to 9, cook dinner, or hopefully it's been cooked already, but some days we'll be cooking it. So you're eating by 9.
It's not ideal, is it?
9:15, 9:30. You're getting to bed by earliest 9:45.
With a belly full of food.
With a belly full of food, tired and restless from training. That's not a great night's sleep.
No.
My Whoop score is not good.
It's not good. Of course, in an ideal world, we spend 20 minutes stretching and kind of mobility before we go to bed. Do we fuck?
Yeah, like that. I just get
into bed and fucking, yeah.
But I feel quite fortunate in some way, because I know from talking to you, I think, and a few others, and they say oh no, I can't eat straight after training, or I can't eat that close to bed sort of thing. So then you've got this situation where you're like, I can't eat.
I know.
So then it either pushes bedtime way later because you're having to recover after dinner before you go to bed, or you're just not eating, and I'm like, that's not ideal.
It's not ideal. I tend to do the latter. I tend to just kind of sometimes go to bed hungry, which is more, I just want my sleep more than do you know what I mean?
But just if I go to bed without a post-training, the next day I would feel terrible.
Oh yeah? I don't know. I feel worse if I eat. I mean, it sounds daft because I'm a musician and I'm used to fucking eating late at service stations and fucking, but I try not to as much as I can. So the times when I'm training, I'm just you know what? I just think, well, yeah, I probably need that for to feed the muscles again or whatever. I just drink loads of water and just try and, it's not ideal. But I mean, that said, You know, I don't do a massive amount of evening training at the moment.
Yeah.
I do a double on the Monday when I can. A lot of my training's during the day, which is a bit more sort of in line with things because I've got to get off to gig or whatever, teach. But the days when I do the evening training, like that Tuesday morning after that, the double's a hard day,
It's
right?
tough, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
like double. It's a hard round. Yeah. I wake up on Tuesday and I teach like I'm there at school 9 a.m. Tuesday, and I wake up like I've been asleep for 100 years. You know what I mean? And I get, and of course I've got an hour
Being
journey.
woken up out of a cryogenic.
Yeah. And the other side of it for me, which is another reason why I should stretch, I really should, but I just don't because I'm a twat. I have an hour's journey back from the gym.
Yeah.
So I just get in the car, drive home, and then I get out to open the gate, and I'm still in the shape of the car seat. I'm opening the gate, like, ow! Like, I'm such an idiot. I should just spend a little bit of time stretching, but you just get in, you have, whatever, and you just get to bed because you want your
I
sleep.
don't even think the stretching's going to help. Like, because sitting, like, you've done like 2.5 hours of like hard exercise, and then you're sitting in a car for an hour.
I know.
I feel like I don't think stretching's that. Like maybe when you get out the other end, doing half an hour stretching, yeah, that could be useful. But like before you get in the car, like I don't think.
Oh no, that's what I meant.
But yeah, okay, maybe when you get out the other end, yeah.
I always plan to, but it's always so fucking late when I get back.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
eat and get it done.
Yeah, I just want to get in, get to bed, and try and get as much sleep. It's yeah.
But for a young single man with all the time in the world,
Honestly, do every round as well. What's wrong with you people?
late training is not going to make that much difference to your sleep because you can just go to bed a bit later because you don't actually have to get up early.
Like, enjoy that recovery, people. Honestly, youth is truly wasted on the young. It really is, though, isn't it? When you think about it, you get to like, I don't know about you, I got to be 35, and I just had this like moment of like, fuck, I'm not young anymore.
Yeah,
and I haven't thought about this until that point. It doesn't even enter your head.
I think for me, like, because I didn't really like ever get fit and strong and push my body through my 20s, I kind of wanted to, but like I just didn't have like the right people around me to do it. Like I kind of like, we started playing football for a while and like five-a-side and like I was quite competitive and like not good, but like I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But like the people that I was doing it with were like, just stoners and things like that.
Right.
And
Just half-arsing it.
Yeah, and like, we did all right, but like it, I wasn't surrounded by people who were like good athletes.
Yeah, right.
And like young and like wanting to like push it. But so like for me, like my 30s was the first time that like I developed all that stuff, like late 20s when I started jiu-jitsu and then into my 30s. And now I'm like 41. I definitely can feel that I'm slowing down.
Yeah.
Like in the last year or so. But like up to that point through my 30s, I just felt like I was getting stronger and fitter, like all the way through my 30s. Like, whereas only now in like the last year, I'm like, if I could train every day, like would I? I kind of do train every day. Like, obviously I lift on the days that I'm not doing jiu-jitsu and I'll do one-to-ones and sometimes you have to do a bit of sparring in the one-to-ones and things. So I am, but
still.
like if I could go and do a proper class with like a decent half an hour, 45 minutes of sparring every day, would I be able to cope with that? I don't think my body can deal with it.
No,
like, I'd have to really like build into it slowly. And like, I'm sure my body would adapt, but like I would be tired as fuck all the time.
And you'd have to be constantly checking yourself in those roles that you're not like fucking pahada, just fucking going for it, which we do. You get going, don't you? You start jumping through the gears. Next thing you know, you're just going at it. You'd have to like really intelligently be like, right, this is a defensive round. Right, I'm just going to try and get there. Or whatever, I'm trying to get into that position.
Even then, I felt like you would just be really tired.
Yeah,
like,
because you're using the same
good quality rest days.
Yeah, definitely. It's like is it Farhas Sahabi? I mentioned that on a Rogan podcast. He said that, a lot of athletes, he believes in a lot of like training every day, but not killing yourself.
Small amounts,
and he also said that he doesn't believe in overtraining. He believes in under resting. Yeah, which is a really good way of thinking about it.
That is a good. And there's probably there is a lot of truth to that. There is a lot of truth to that.
Definitely.
Because some people can train a fucking load. Do you know what I mean? It's very hard to overtrain. Yeah. And a lot of the time it is down to the athlete's inability to sort of recover well enough for the amount of training load that they're doing. So
definitely. You need to even that score, don't you? But I just think I've just explained how much of an idiot I am. I just train and then just go straight to bed.
Yeah.
You need to value it as much as the actual training itself, don't you?
But the main aspects of recovery are sleep and nutrition.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you're ticking those boxes, like for me, like because I have to wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
That makes it quite challenging. Like I get probably 6.5 to 7 hours sleep is like the average. Like sometimes like last week, where are we? This week we went to bed at like 9:45 a few times, and I was like, man, that's really good. I've got like nearly 8 hours sleep sort of thing. And I did feel good for it. Last night we had Sophia's Christmas party, so I only had 5.5 hours sleep, and I feel terrible today.
Yeah.
So this
is it. I think just to what you were saying earlier, especially as you get older, when you've got kids and life is busy, you're constantly making the best of a non-ideal situation. And that's it. Well, for me, I want to get in and I want to just get to bed and get as much sleep as I can because I value that above all else, because sleep is everything, right? And I know I'm working the next day, so I need to be on it, as opposed to like getting in and just having a hot bath and stretching and spending it, and going to bed at midnight and waking up at like 11:30, whatever, and just slopping into the day.
If life was like that,
oh my God,
I'm certain I could train every day.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Probably train pretty hard.
That's kind of what I mean. Even at our age, probably.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I could do that. Yeah.
And this is what, to your point about when you're young, it's just like, all jokes aside, like just get in and train and just enjoy that recovery, because it starts to go. And it starts to go, but also your life gets more complicated the older you get. And we all, like I said before, we chatted to some of the younger guys, and they're like, yeah, but we want what you've got. We want a wife and kids and a settled life and stuff. So your life is going to end up like that. So just try and get as much in now as you can. Enjoy the fact that you can just train and work and just you can ease yourself into the day. I've got musician friends who are like that, who don't have kids, and they're getting up at like they'll do a gig and they'll get in at 3 o'clock in the morning, but then they'll wake up at like midday.
Yeah,
which is fine. Whereas I'm up at whatever 6, 7 o'clock with the kids. Yeah. Oh, if anything, I slept too much, mate. Oh, really tired.
Oh, it's a hardship, isn't it?
Oh, man, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's a good old man rant, I think. That's a nice way to finish off, I think, today. Yeah.
Let's call it there.
We are old, but this is Dad Jitsu. So hopefully you are old as well.
Yeah.
And you understand where we're coming from. It's hard keeping up with the youngsters.
It is. Just got to rely on the old man's strength.
Yeah, but I feel like the youngsters do keep us young in a way.
Yeah, they keep us training, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. But yes, look, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
I think I've worked out a way to get this onto Spotify.
Oh,
so if you're hearing this now on Spotify, I did it.
Wait. Funny enough, I was thinking about that last night. I thought I might try that. So
I think I've worked out. So there's like there's a website where you can go and do it through that, and then they like send it out.
They set it up for you. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So watch this space. We might be able to get that actually going, which is going to be amazing.
New evolution, baby.
Make sure you like and subscribe and do all those things. Press on my bell. Send us money. Comments. Make sure you comment. We always like the comments. I always reply to the comments. Maybe put a question in the comments, because then we can answer that on the next show. But it's been great seeing you. Go and follow us on Instagram, Steve Thumbs, I think it is.
Indeed.
And then Coach Henry Pike, and we'll see you next time.